video I wanted to make next, but it's one I think is important and I feel like I need to. So before I start drawing, I wanted to give a bit of background. This video was meant to be a 3-marker creature design challenge. My elderly dog Achilles, he's the brown and white dog you've seen in some of my videos. He had a knee injury that was going to require him to be on house arrest for quite a while. I thought I would do a 3-marker challenge where I included him picking out my colors, just to give him a little something different to do for enrichment. I had it all planned out, and it was going to be really cute, but on the day I was planning to get the footage of him picking the colors, he died. I'm gonna get into what happened when I start drawing, but first I want to tell you why I wanted to make this video. Since I lost him, I haven't felt like doing anything that used to bring me joy, to be honest. And that includes art. I'm having a lot of anxiety around things that I used to like before I lost him because everything reminds me of him, and whenever I try to draw, all I can think about is the fact that he's gone. I feel like there's an unspoken rule in content creation, especially when it comes to art, that you can't really show the bad stuff, and that's always seemed wrong to me. On this channel, I want to be upfront with you guys and show you my struggles because that's just how life is. Bad things happen that completely turn your life upside down, and grief is just one of them. So this video is me working through that grief and anxiety because just because I lost something really, really precious to me doesn't mean I have to let that pain take away everything I love. So this is me taking the first steps to work through it and to try and heal a little bit. I'm probably gonna cry a lot. I've already had to do several takes in just this little intro because I keep crying. So I'm gonna try my best not to, so y'all can understand me. But I hope this video comes out somewhat relatable, and even though it's really sad, I just want to put it out there to help someone who might be going through something similar. If you're out there, I hope you know that what you're feeling is okay and it's normal. And wherever you are in your journey through grief and/or art anxiety, please take your time and let yourself feel what you're feeling. There's nothing wrong with it. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so I have some pictures that I'm going to use as references today. These are just a bunch of random pictures from throughout his life. I don't know if I'll use all of them, but they're here. I thought the poses were cute and very him, so yep, that's what we're using. This is one of my favorites. I actually have this one up above my bed now. Alright, so I don't know what medium I'm gonna use, and I don't know how I'm gonna lay this out, but we'll just get started somewhere. I guess I'll just go ahead and use this one first. Hopefully the lighting's better this time. It's been so long since I've drawn traditionally, so this is gonna be interesting. Probably gonna drive me crazy that I can't flip anything, but oh well, we're here, we're gonna do this. So I'm pretty sure in a previous video I've explained how I got Achilles. I had him for 13 years. Basically one day me and my mom were coming back from picking up some hay for our horses, and we were going down the road to our house, and we saw this well, my mom actually saw this puppy on the side of the road under some trees next to the train tracks, just laying there. And she's like, "There's a puppy! I'm stopping, you're gonna go out and get it." And I didn't want to, honestly, because we had a lot of animals already, so yeah, I wasn't keen on picking up another animal that we're gonna have to take care of. But she was very adamant that I needed to go out there and pick up that puppy, so I grudgingly went out, got out of the truck, scooped him up. He cried a little bit when I leaned toward him. Scooped him up, and he instantly started licking my arms, and I pretty much fell in love right away. And as soon as I got back in the truck, I was basically like, well, I'm keeping him. So I went from not wanting him at all to just deciding that he was mine in the matter of like 5 seconds. So, yeah, I got a puppy. I think I was like 18, 19 years old. He was my first, not my first dog, but my first dog that I raised myself, I guess. And he was a handful. I actually almost rehomed him at one point because he was so just bananas. We think he was a healer and Walker Coonhound mix. So he had like he was very sassy, very spicy, but he was extremely loving. He was a very clingy dog. Like he always wanted to be wherever I was. But he was also like extremely mischievous. He would get into all kinds of stuff. And he was extremely noisy. Yeah, another reason I wanted to make this video was just, I thought it might help me a little just to talk about him and share thoughts and just kind of, I guess, tell a little bit of stories about him. So, I don't know, I don't have a lot of friends, so I kind of just want more people to know him, I guess, because he was a really special dog. At least to me he was. I really loved him a lot. I don't know if I can capture just how sweet his eyes were. He would give me this look when he wanted me to pet him. And pretty much any time, really. I think he knew that he had very woebegone eyes, so he took advantage all the time. Always wanting to be pet. And if I accidentally give him googly eyes, it doesn't really matter because his eyes were actually kind of like that. We used to call them Pennywise eyes, me and my husband would. Because sometimes they look like they were going in two different directions, and I guess that makes it convenient to do art of him, because it's still true to how he was. I'm trying not to spend too much time on these because I have so many reference pictures that I want to use that I don't want to like be here forever. Even though I could sit here and look at that little face forever. I miss this face a whole lot, but I've put a picture of him basically in every room because he was always near me, so it was really jarring to not have that anymore. So yeah, I had to put a picture of him in every room just so I could see him like I used to when he was alive, because he was always there, always. This is looking a little bit more like him as I go along. Drawing his ears has always given me trouble because they were such a weird shape. They weren't just like regular like flat or upright triangles. They were all, well, I just called them stupid ears, so I didn't know what else to call them. So he had stupid ears. They were, they used to be just like regular flat ears when he was a really tiny baby. But once he hit his teenage stage, excuse me, they started to fold up like this. So yeah, I think if he had a little more, if his healer genes were a little stronger, his ears probably would have stood upright, but instead they just folded and looked ridiculous all the time. I think he must have been about, I think he was 12 in this picture because this was taken in our new house. So he had to have been 12. And from the lights in the back, this is probably Christmas. Last Christmas. I think that's good. Then I'll work on tightening it up once I actually do the coloring. All right, next picture. I think that one will go good in this corner. This was our, sorry, choked on my coffee. Not crying for once. But this was our first Christmas that we spent in our new house. We went to a little park that's nearby for our Christmas walk. And it was all done up really pretty. Looked like your stereotypical like small town Christmas decor. It was really cute. We went and walked there early in the morning before anybody else arrived. But yeah, it was pretty rough raising this dog because he was a wild man. I used to have to, but when I first got him, I didn't walk my dogs because I was like a kid and I was still learning proper dog care, so I wasn't very good at it. But yeah, he definitely taught me a thing or two about keeping dogs. So when I got him, I started getting more into the dog scene, I guess, and I started going on lots of walks with him. This is getting messed up because I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way and it's looking goofy. But anyways, yeah. I started having to walk him with a weighted backpack just to get him to burn energy, to not be insufferable all day long. He was still pretty insufferable, but just not all day long. But I'm sure you guys are, well, maybe you're wondering what happened to him. So I guess I'll knock that out before I get into, everything else. By everything else, I mean, like, why he meant so much to me and all that, and what I've been doing to kind of cope with his loss. But basically he's been slowing down, typically as he aged. Mostly over the past year, we really started noticing, a little bit of arthritis and stuff in 2020 because, of course with lockdown, couldn't do anything, so we were going on lots and lots of long walks. So we started noticing that he was getting kind of ouchy faster than he used to back in 2020, and it didn't pose that much of a problem until this past year. He started seeming to go downhill a little bit faster. I think in spring or summer, I actually started him on Adequan. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it's like an injection that they do, like, I think like one injection twice a week for, what was it? It was like 4 to 8 weeks. I can't remember. It was a while back, but yeah, we did that to try and help him, and it helped for a bit. After that, we had to do, after the initial loading dose, we had to go back every month for another injection. So we did that for him to help with his arthritis. But he seemed to be doing pretty good. There's dog carrying my eraser. He seemed to be doing pretty good until about maybe December last year is when it started accelerating how fast he's going downhill. And probably I'm flipping around here on the timeline because he had so much stuff going on, but I think in July of 2021 he had his first seizure, and he didn't have another one until August of last year, I'm pretty sure is when it was. And then he had another one in September-ish. So he got diagnosed with epilepsy, which I had never heard of developing later in life. I thought that it appeared pretty early, but he had that going on. So he was on medication for epilepsy, and it seemed to work pretty well. He didn't have another seizure until recently. So that was a big relief. That was pretty scary. And in, I think it was a month or two ago, when he really started going downhill quick, was one morning I had him, send him outside to go potty like usual, and he took an unusually long time to come back. And I had to go out and call him, which I don't normally have to do. He usually comes back inside because he wanted his breakfast. But that morning he didn't do that. And when he finally showed up, he was kind of like he was winded, like he had been chasing an animal, which he used to do a lot of. He kind of hobbled up the stairs really painfully, and I didn't really know what was wrong with him. I figured he'd probably just been chasing something and had just wore himself out, kind of didn't realize that he was too old for that and did it anyways. And I figured, oh, he'll just get better. He'll just heal eventually after he, recovers a little bit, gets his breath. And he never really did. After that, he wasn't really the same. I'm still not sure what happened, but he just started going downhill, especially fast. At that point, we were doing like 40-minute walks on days I didn't have to work. We go out to the park for like 40 minutes and just walk, and he started getting more and more winded doing that. He was playing with my other dog Eden less. He still wanted to, but he just couldn't as much. He was sleeping more, just not really himself. And then about a it wasn't a week ago, it was like 2 weeks ago, he had another seizure, which can happen if they are on medication. The medication doesn't make the seizures go away entirely, it just makes it less likely that they'll have one. So that was the first seizure he had while he was on medication. And it wasn't as bad as the other ones, but it was still, like, after that his walks went down from 40 minutes to like, he could only stand like 20-minute walks. Which was really, really unusual for him because he was in pretty good shape for his age. I started noticing something like really wrong with his gait after that. He was kind of like kind of ouchy. He was kind of shuffling with his back legs, kind of tucking in his hips a little, like he was in pain. And it just got more and more noticeable as the week went on. And he started really going downhill on, what was it, Friday, I think? And then by probably Sunday or Monday, he could barely walk at all. Like, I remember that one of our last attempts at going for a walk, I had to carry him part of the way because he just couldn't do it. Like, he was hurting so bad on his back legs. He started the walk, pretty normal. And then about halfway through, he was doing the thing where he was tucking in his hips and kind of shuffling really hard on the back. So that happened, and that's when I knew that there was like something like really wrong with him. So I took him to the vet on Monday morning. And they ran blood work and all of the diagnostic things, and they couldn't find anything wrong with him as far as that. So they said that, well, he probably just has dementia, and it's affecting, how he can, his perception of where he is in space. So he's walking weird. And they prescribed a medication for that. And by that point, I was like already like crying every day because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And he was really starting to suffer. His eyes just got really droopy, and he looked tired all the time, and he was just not himself. He didn't want to really, he tried to play, but it was like he just couldn't bring himself to do it like as hard as he used to. And whenever he went outside, he was just kind of, lifelessly meandering around. So I knew there was something more, like the dementia thing I could maybe see, but it just wasn't, something just didn't sit right. And especially because let me find a new reference real quick, hold on. All right, that'll do. I really wanted it to be something that I could fix. And you can't really fix dementia. They did assign like a medication that might help, might not. So I did take the prescription in for that, but never ended up getting it in the end. But yeah, it just didn't sit right with me, so he was looking especially bad, like the morning after that, as far as walking. Like that was the worst morning that he had had at that point, where he couldn't even get up the stairs after he had gone potty that morning. So I thought maybe it's something wrong with his hips, something arthritis related. It just didn't seem like it was something mental to me, because he seemed like, other than being kind of tired and I guess sad, it just didn't seem like he was gone mentally. So I made an appointment for him with another vet to get a second opinion, and these people also did therapy. So I thought I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone and just take him to a vet that also offered some therapy options if there was something wrong with his hips or whatever. So that was on Wednesday, and I took him in right after work, whisked him off to the vet, and they looked at him walk, and the vet was just instantly like, they didn't take x-rays? This doesn't look like dementia to me. So she immediately ordered some x-rays. Hey girl. And what they found on that was his hips were, they had some arthritis, but they weren't too bad. His spine was a little bit worse with the arthritis, and it was hurting him a bit, but what the main issue was that he had a partial tear of the cruciate ligament in his right knee, and that's what was making him walk so weird, because that was really hurting him. So they started laser therapy for him on that day, and I was so freaking relieved that there was something that we could actually fix, which it still sucked, because he would have had to have been essentially on bed rest for months, and he was used to getting walked every day and all that. So I was looking into doing a bunch of research, trying to figure out how I could keep him comfortable. I was looking into getting him a knee brace so he could at least, walk down the stairs by himself and maybe hobble around the yard a little bit. Yeah. So that day I had been, up until that point, that whole week, I had been feeling really despondent about his condition, because I thought that I was going to lose him, because I didn't really know what was wrong with him. But once I got the diagnosis of the partially torn ligament, I was like, yeah, finally got something we could fix. He's going to be okay. He's going to last us, at least, a few more months, if not a couple years. So, that night was pretty good. It was a nice relief from all the crying I had been doing. And I'm always going to be grateful for that. But this part's going to get really hard. So the next day, I can do this. It's gonna suck, but I can do this. And the next day I went to work like usual, feeling good. He seemed like he was feeling a little bit better. And my husband reported that, he did look a little bit better when he had gotten home and let him out and everything. He didn't have as much trouble going up the stairs. So we were both pretty optimistic. And since he was feeling better, we went to the park, let him have a little sniff walk. It wasn't too long. He was mostly just meandering around while I went and I took our other dog for her normal stroll around the park. Well, he just sniffed in the bushes. We just wanted to let him have a little mental health sniff since he was being cooped up so much. He hadn't been able to go on the walk for a few days already, so yeah. And he started getting he started having some more walking issues at the end of that walk. So we loaded him in the car, and he seemed, other than his knee being ouchy, he seemed pretty normal. I fed him like usual when I got home. When I did my workout, he came in our workout room and he was kind of breathing heavy, but I didn't really think anything of it because, he's on all this medication and he's hurting, so it's just like it's probably just pain. And I went about, taking a shower and all that stuff. And when I got out of the shower, my husband, he was like, "Hey babe, I think there's something wrong with Achilles." So I went and looked, and he was still laying in the weight room, and he was laying on his side, and he was breathing really heavy and taking like these ragged breaths. So we called his regular vet, but since it was almost their closing time, they sent us to the emergency vet, and of course it was rush hour, and the emergency vet is in another county, so we had to drive about 40-50 minutes just to get to the emergency vet. And his gums were pale. He seemed kind of unresponsive. And when we got to the emergency vet, it only took like maybe 10, not even 10 minutes from when we arrived. I'm really messing up this pose, but that's okay. I am very emotional right now. The vet came in and she told us that what had happened is he had a tumor by his lung, and it had ruptured. The tumor had ruptured, and he was in shock because it was causing internal bleeding. She said that due to his age, they could try to get him stabilized, and they could attempt surgery, but due to his age, it wasn't a good option, and that the kindest thing to do would be to let him go. So that's what we did, and it really sucked. It was really, really hard because that wasn't, I never wanted for him to pass away in a vet's office. I really wanted for him to go at home, but even getting him stabilized to be able to take him home would have been, it probably would not have ended well. And I didn't want to chance leaving him there for them to stabilize or attempt to stabilize and end up having him pass away while we weren't there, because I did not want to leave him. Having at least two of us there was better than having nobody there. If I had gotten the chance to arrange for everything at home, I would have had my parents there because, we both lived with them for a while and they loved him very much. But that just wasn't meant to be. So yeah, we went home that night without him. And it was really difficult. It was really difficult walking in the door and seeing our other dog greeting us without him there. That was really difficult. And yeah, that's what happened. We did our best. We tried to do everything we could to save him as long as it was humane, and we were in the clear there with the knee diagnosis, but it turned out that the thing that we didn't know was there is what ultimately took him. So yep, that's what happened to him. It was the tumor. I think, looking back, there were a lot of signs that was there. It had probably been there for quite a while. That was probably why he was struggling so much. Prior to that, on walks, you know, he would do them, but he was always, you know, out of breath more than he should have been. In the summer, last summer was especially hard for him. So I think that had been there for a while, and we just didn't know. Nobody knew. And yeah, that was really difficult. He had been with me for 13 years. And I thought that I would have them longer, but it just didn't work out that way. I'm glad that I finally got that bit out of the way, because I knew that was going to be the hardest part. Hopefully you guys could understand what I was saying and I wasn't crying too much. I'm sorry if the sniffling is annoying, but I can't help it. Hello again. It is a few days later. Well, more like a week later. Yeah, basically I had to stop what I was doing because I had a bunch of family stuff going on and I had to go back to work, but I'm back now to finish this. I did some more sketches off camera, just in my little pockets of time that I had here and there. And yeah, I have been looking forward to getting this finished all week. It's kind of been weighing on my mind because I didn't want to do any other art until I finished this. I thought it was really important to honor him before I did anything else, you know? It's been quite a rough almost 2 weeks since I lost him. I have pretty much been crying every day. My face hurts so much because I can't stop crying. But yeah, right now I'm just putting a light pink wash over everything just to start out here. I want some kind of color to work with, just to make things a little more lively. So I'll probably let this dry a bit before I start slapping down other colors. But yeah, so this what I want to talk about next after I got the bad part out of the way is just kind of just talk through what he meant to me, because I just need to get it out. I've been thinking about it a lot, so I just need to talk about it and get it out. But yeah, this dog I had for 13 years, he was the dog that I had from I was 19. So I had him in like the most kind of tumultuous years, when I was kind of going through like a big hermit phase. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Pretty depressed, but not getting any help. I didn't have much purpose or anything. So this guy was my reason for getting up in the morning. And he was pretty much my only reason for quite a while. So he pretty much my anchor, I guess you could say, to just being here And pretty much I feel like everything that I've accomplished in my life was for him. I know it sounds silly, but he was the first dog I had who was completely mine. And I raised him from a little puppy. I was responsible for his vet bills, his food, everything. So I did what I had to do to make ends meet, which is mostly commission work to pay for him. My German Shepherd that I had at the time, he's more of a family dog, but he passed away too in a traumatic kind of way. And it was really after that happened that I was really like a dead set on getting my life together and doing whatever I had to do to make sure that I would have the money to take care of Achilles and just cover whatever he needed just to make sure that nothing like that ever happened again. So that was my main driving force in going to school and getting my degree. And that's also how I met my husband, was in school. So in doing what I needed to do to make a good life for my dog, I ended up getting a whole lot more. And that was, in the end, that was one of the things that I thanked him for, was this really beautiful life that I have. That was because of him. I wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for this dog. I wouldn't have my husband. I wouldn't have the stability that I have now. I wouldn't have the confidence that I have in myself. There's just a lot that I wouldn't have if it wasn't for this dog. So he meant the world to me. And one of the things that I'm really having to adjust to is just trying to find some kind of purpose again without him here. I have my husband and my other dogs who need me, but it just since he was my main focus for so long, it just doesn't feel complete without him here, which is to be expected. But yeah, this dog got me through a lot. He was my best bud for quite a while. He was my motivation to do everything. He was there for me when I really just needed a friend. He was just my best boy. And I think that he knew that I would be okay and that he could go. But I think what's been especially hard is that he needed so much care at the end. He needed all of his medication and he needed help going up hills on walks. So I got him a special harness to help him. It had like a handle on the back so that I could help him go uphill just by lifting up on the little handle. And he did pretty well like that for a while. He was, speeding along with thinking that he was doing it by himself. But it was really me hanging on to his harness for him. But that was just one of the little things I did to make sure that he could still enjoy himself, even when he was too weak to do it all by himself. Too weak and too ouchy to do it. He was even there At my wedding, we got married on my parents' farm. So he got to be there. He wasn't like actually part of the ceremony because there weren't enough hands to go around to handle him. He was quite a handful. But he was screaming in the background the whole time, pretty much. We had him locked up in my parents' yard. And he did not like being left in there, so he yelled the whole time. But he was part of our pictures and our engagement pictures and all that. So we have those nice little memories. And my husband had the typical, stereotypical dad reaction to him. Like, he did not like him at first because Achilles was very possessive and protective of me because I was pretty much the only person who handled him his whole life until my husband came along and we moved in with him. And they managed to win each other over. Achilles was really attached to him pretty quickly. And my husband was, the feeling was mutual. But he was like a big, I'm just not a pet person. I'm not an animal person. The dogs are your responsibility. And yeah, that changed quick. He could not resist these cheeks or those big expressive eyes. Or, how opinionated he was. He was a really funny dog. And I think he knew that. He would do stuff to make us laugh all the time. And he was so loud. So incredibly loud. If he felt any particular way about anything, he would let you know. He would scream. He would make these extremely bizarre noises that, the best way we could describe it was a drowning turkey. So he had those noises that were, they were something else. Like, he had a new noise every day that he would make. One of the things that really hurt the most also about losing him was seeing how my other dog reacted. I think when he collapsed, she seemed like she kind of knew. She came up and sniffed him. And the day after he passed away, she was really bummed out. Like, for days, she didn't even want to go outside and really do anything because, they would always go outside together and they would wait for each other to get out the dog door and then they would go take off barking at whatever. So, in the days after he passed away, I would have to, tell her to go outside because she didn't want to go out without him. And she would just kind of go to the bottom of the steps and just stand there and stare out into the distance and just wait for him to come out the door. And he never did, of course. So she would just kind of, meander around the cars and not really know what to do, just looking lost. And when she would come back inside, she would just climb on my bed and just mope around. Really the only joy she got was going on our walks. But the walks were sad for us because we were used to walking two dogs, so one of us would have to walk empty-handed whenever we went on the walk. So we would trade her halfway through just so that nobody had to go without a dog the whole time. Just really sad. But I couldn't stand to watch her like that for very long because it was just I was more depressed to see how she was reacting to losing him. They loved each other a lot. A lot of the times we would walk, just walk into their room and they would be there with their paws on top of each other, kind of holding hands, which is really cute. And he would groom her a lot, and they just really loved each other. So she's not very smart, so I was kind of surprised to see how she reacted. I was not expecting her to be so, aware of his loss, I guess. Just kind of dumb. But yeah, that was really hard to watch. And originally we had taken her in as a companion for him, and we knew pretty immediately, just watching her, that we needed to get another dog as soon as possible. So I personally still don't think that I've processed his death enough to have another dog, but for her sake, we went ahead and did it. We got a Walker Coonhound. We think that Achilles was part Walker Coonhound and part healer. So yeah, I found this dog on Craigslist, and she was super cute. So we got a friend for Eden, who is her age, Walker Coonhound. Her name is Maeve. Since I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Wolf Walkers, but that was the last movie that we watched as a family with Achilles. So that's where Maeve's name came from, to give a little bit of homage to that movie being the last one that we watched with him. But yeah, having even though it hasn't been very long since we lost them, having Maeve here has actually helped, because we don't have to share a dog on our walks anymore, which we do every day. We walk the dogs, and she gets in all the spaces that he used to get into, which is, I find, kind of weird. Like, literally every space that he loved, that Eden doesn't care about, Maeve has taken over. So it has helped seeing a dog, living, breathing creature in the spaces that were empty. So that's good. It still hurts a lot seeing his stuff laying around. I still have his all his medication and things like that. I haven't been able to bring myself even to wipe away his dry drool that's still on one of our bar stools and on the fridge. Just really gross. But when you lose someone, you get really attached to weird things. I know he was pretty care intensive at the end, and part of me feels like I should have found some relief that I don't have to do all those things anymore. But the truth is that I don't. I thought that taking care of him was really rewarding. I think it's because he always showed me how grateful he was for everything I did for him. He was such a sweet dog. He was crazy, but he was super sweet. Even right up until the end, he was still he's always been quite mischievous. So even when he was in pain and couldn't really do anything, he was still making his little slow way out to our front gate and trying to get out. Like, my dude, you have everything in here. Why are you still trying to go on adventures when you can hardly even turn around without falling over? Like, really? But it was just his nature. He was, as my husband said, he was a bastard, but he was our bastard. And I miss that a lot about him. Like, it's stupid, but the most annoying things are sometimes the things that you miss the most. I feel like this video is going to be super long because I have a lot to say about this dog. I had him for a long time. He was really special to me, and I don't really care if this video ends up being super long because, I don't know, it's background noise, and it's also good for me to get all this out, even though I'm sure, like, it really only matters to me because he was my dog, and y'all didn't know him, but I still just want to talk about him, And I hope that if you have lost a pet or someone else close to you recently, that you take your time to talk about them too, because it does help. It actually has been pretty helpful thus far, just having something to do with my hands while I talk about him and remember him. I'm almost done getting the base colors down for his fur, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a lot of this, the detail on him in colored pencil, maybe some crayon. But I want to put a little background on this, I think. Just something quick and naturey. I think green was a color that looked good around him, so I definitely want to do something green. But, even though these past 2 weeks have been really rough, there have been some things that have helped that I think I will share in case somebody out there is watching this going through something similar, that maybe can help you too. One of the first things I did the day after he passed was I went to, I ordered one on CVS, their website, and I ordered a bunch of pictures of him. I got a big one that I don't know if I said this already, but I got a big picture printed of him that I put above my bed, because one of the things he used to do is that he would jump on my bed and lay down and face my desk while I was working there, and he would just stare at me, just stare and stare and stare, just trying to get my attention. And at the time it was super annoying, I'm not gonna lie. I used to complain about that a lot, but it turned out to be one of the things that I really missed. So I got a picture. It was it's actually this picture that I blew up really big, and I put it over my bed so I can see it from my desk, and it's like he's staring at me forever now. It was just kind of funny. I just didn't like it when he did that. It annoyed me a lot, but now he's up there. He's up there forever. He ain't coming down. And another thing, this is gonna sound really weird, but since he was around me so much, I was used to, talking to him, just interacting with him a lot. And one of the things that I found that helped was I keep another picture of him by my bedside. And especially those first few days, I would actually talk to his picture as if he were really there. And it sounds weird, but it actually helped me a lot to get out some of the things that I forgot to say to him when we were saying goodbye. And a lot of the regrets and stuff that I had that I didn't get to tell him. So yeah, it's just helped to talk to the picture and tell him everything. And I also told him about the walks we went on. Told him about what our other dog Eden was doing, what she was up to, and when we went to get her friend, I asked him if he would just be there with us and maybe help smooth things over, because Eden can be kind of a handful when she's meeting new dogs. So I was like, please help us, Achilles. And I think he did, because it went pretty well, and now we have Maeve. And Eden, she's doing a lot better now that she's got a buddy, which is really nice. So I like to think that he had a hand not only in us finding Maeve, but also in helping her fit in with Eden, because they get along really well now. And it's nice to see Eden running around and happy again because she's got a buddy. And also, I would just like to say that if you lose someone and you feel like screaming might help, it does. Do not hold that in. I've done that a couple of times now, because the pain, it just builds and builds. and you don't want to keep that in. It's just going to get worse if you try to hold it in. So if you feel like you need to scream, literally just scream. Just go where nobody can hear you and just scream. It really helps get some of that pain out, and cry as much as you need to. I know I've done a lot of that recently. And like I said, this also helps too. Just doing a little memorial type thing in your sketchbook or whatever. Just having your hands busy while you think about them. I'm not really worried about making this perfect. He was quite a rugged and messy dog, so this will be a rugged and messy sketch page. I feel like there's a lot more that I want to say about him, but I didn't write any of this down, so I'm just saying things as they come to me. I'm sure there's a lot that I'm forgetting to say. We had a lengthy history, so bound to forget some things. But I'm really grateful for the last days that I had with him. Since I kind of knew that something was wrong, even though I didn't know what, I got to spend a lot more time with him. Always after work, anyways, before all this happened, it was our routine that, aside from going on our daily walk, which we did rain or shine, after we did that, I would sit on the couch with him and Eden, and I would just pet them while I watched anime and stuff. And a lot of the time, if the weather was nice, he would force me to go outside and watch him run around the yard and bark and sniff and play. He didn't want to stay out there and do all his dog things unless I was there watching him, kind of a captive audience. So we did that a lot too, because I knew it made him happy. So I would sit out there and draw and stuff while he did his thing. So, me and my husband, very active with our dogs. So we did a lot with him, and he got to experience a lot of things, a lot of different places, and we took him out a lot to different parks and stuff, and hiking, various fast food drive-thrus, which he really appreciated. It didn't take him long at all to learn that he would get fries every time he went through a drive-thru, so he really loved that. And he would demand those French fries whenever he saw us get the bag. So we definitely did not take this dog for granted, and I am really, really happy about that, because I think the less that you have to regret when somebody passes away, the easier it is to grieve. It's still been pretty hard, obviously, because he's such a big part of my life, but it's easier just knowing that we did so much with him, and, the medical stuff. It's hard not to replay that over and over, but it does help knowing that we spent so much time with him, so he knew he was loved. Very much so. Alright, the watercolor is dry. Take a blow dryer to it, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the colored pencil. I'm going to start with his eyes, because I think that that's really going to help bring this to life a little bit more. Make it look more like him. It's funny, when he was young, his eyes were like this really bright, like orangey brown. They were really pretty, and then as he got older, they got a little darker. Still a little bit orangey brown, but darker than they were when he was young. He had the most expressive eyes I've ever seen in any dog. Oops. You could really tell that something was going on between those eyes. It wasn't just TV static. He was a very emotionally intelligent and just generally intelligent boy. He tended to use his intelligence for evil, but he did try to be a good boy as much as he could. He definitely kept us on our toes. Dang it, keep dropping my pencils. Every time we would leave the house for any length of time, we would have to make sure that everything was locked down, especially the trash. Because he would just jump into it the first chance he got. And he outsmarted us many a time. Just kind of makes you feel like an idiot when it happens, but that's what he would do. That was his specialty. Just getting in trouble. You know, we loved him anyways. It was part of his charm. Yeah, it's looking more like him. He had very thick, like, eyeliner-looking markings around his eyes. Made them look even bigger and more expressive. I kind of wish that I had done one of those dog DNA tests on him, but I know they tend to be inaccurate, so I never bothered, but it would have been fun, I think. We think that he was a healer and Coonhound mix, because those dogs are pretty much everywhere around where we live, because we live out, you know, in the south. Kind of in the area where I found them was pretty rural, so those kinds of dogs would have been everywhere. And it would make sense with his behaviors. He had very healer-esque behaviors. I think the closest I'll probably ever get to having another dog like him is going to be to get a healer, which I would like to do someday. He was a handful, but, you know, I survived once. I think I can do it again. And get a little bit of yellow, because he had like a cream color where his mask faded into white. And I think one of the reasons this hit me so hard was just the emotional roller coaster at the end of knowing something was wrong but not knowing what, and then thinking he would be okay, and then the next day losing him, which really that sucked. I don't really have any other words for that except it really sucked. Just the highs and lows and the stress. Just, it was a lot, and it's still a lot, and it's going to be that way for a while probably. Just because, you know, again, I had him for so long that it's going to take more than 2 weeks to kind of get used to not having him around when he was there for 13 years. So I guess I just need to give myself a little bit of grace, but it's hard. You know, it would be nice to stop crying all the time, because my face is pretty much burning off. But, you know, it just takes time. And speaking from experience, the pain never really goes away. Like, even years after my German Shepherd died, which has been about 7 years since he passed away, I would still cry. I would still cry about him. I feel like I've been sad about it this whole time. I've always been carrying this sadness with me, and now that Achilles is gone too, it's like it's worse. Like, I have more of it to carry now. But there's also a lot of good that came out of it, lots of funny memories. He got me through so much. So I have that to think back on whenever I think of him. Getting close to finishing the colored pencil part. I think I want to add some more colors here and there, but we're almost there. I like the sketchy look we got going on. If you guys have lost any pets, feel free to tell me about them in the comments. You guys are sitting through me talking about my dog, so it's only fair. If you have pets that you would like to talk about, I would love to hear about them. So it can be therapeutic to tell other people. So let me know. Another thing that me and my husband decided that we were going to do is that we kind of accidentally started a tradition of going to a particular state park close to us every year, and the last 2 years we took him. So we're going to do that this weekend probably. We're going to go on a little hike for him, and we are going to try to do it every year. Unfortunately, he did pass away on our wedding anniversary, so it won't be hard to remember that we're going to do our yearly hike for our anniversary and for Achilles. We did promise him that we were going to take Eden on a bunch of new trails so she could sniff enough for the both of them. So that will be nice, and we get to take Maeve this time too. One of my favorite last memories of him was on that last vet trip we did, where I took him to the therapy place and they found what was wrong with his knee. It was just a simple memory. He was really uncomfortable, so he couldn't get comfortable on the hard floor with how much he was hurting. So I decided to sit on the floor instead of in the chair in the waiting room, or the exam room rather. I sat on the floor and I patted my lap to invite him to come sit, and he did. He was very happy. He sat his little butt on my lap and he gave me kisses. He was very grateful. He had a comfy place to sit, and it was nice just getting to scratch him and pet him and kiss him and just love on him while we waited for the vet to come in. So that was I know it seems kind of silly, but it's one of my favorite memories that I've been playing in my head. Just all the little things, taking care of him and trying to make his life as comfortable as I could, especially at the end. And like I said, he showed me that he was grateful for everything. I never had a doubt in my mind that he appreciated everything that I did for him, which made it easy to do those things. And also made it a lot harder when he wasn't there for me to take care of anymore. But I really did enjoy taking care of him. That was like the goal anyways, of like doing everything that I did, as far as making sure I had the funds to take care of him in his old age, and I did. I was able to do everything that he needed, keep him comfortable, and just do all the tests and stuff to try and find out what was wrong with him. So I'm really grateful for that. That I got to be there for him and just make him as comfortable as I could at the end. And I feel like that was kind of repaying him for everything that he did for me. And I just wish that I don't think that no amount of time spent repaying him for everything that he did for me would have ever been enough. But I do wish that we had a little bit more time, which I think everybody does. Like I said, I'm I'm always going to be grateful that, since I lost my other dog, that I knew that there would be certain things that I would regret if I didn't do them. So, like I said, we spent so much time with him and just made sure that he knew how special and important he was. right until the very end. So that definitely is not one of my regrets, that I didn't spend enough time with him, because I did. I sure did. And it's nice to be able to say that, and to feel that peace that I spent so much time with him. And he was so very loved. And I knew in the way that he interacted with me that he felt it, and he knew, and I'm really glad about that. He was my best boy. So, pro tip, if you have pets, please make sure that you spend time with them, as much time as you can. I know, like, everybody's busy. We're all having to work, and we all have all of these things that we're doing, but make sure that you spend time with them, because they're not here for very long. And you are their whole world. So just make sure that you don't have, well, you probably have some regrets, but if you spend time with them, that'll be one less thing that is going to weigh on you when they're not here anymore. And whatever love and attention you give them, they will give back to you tenfold. I never had any doubt in my mind that this dog loved me with everything he had. Alright, I need to add some shine to these eyes, because that's bothering me. He does not have any shine. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a background color to this. I have some acrylic paint that's been getting kind of tacky, so I'm going to try and use it before it becomes useless. I'm looking forward to getting into art again, hopefully after finishing this, because yeah, doing this has been taking up all of my art brain. Because yeah, like I said, I just wanted to do this for him before I did anything else. I thought that was really important. So we're almost done. We are doing it. And then I can start focusing on other things that I want to do. And just try to keep trucking along as best I can. This dog put a lot of work into me, making sure that I would do things that made me happy and that I could do those things. And I don't want to have that go to waste. I'm not gonna let the grief get me down too much. It's been a rough few weeks, but he would have wanted me to keep doing things I love to do. He's the one who gave me the resources to do those things anyway, so I gotta keep doing them for him, if not myself. But it's kind of hard when he was my whole reason for really doing anything. So it's kind of strange trying to find new reasons to do things. I don't know if that makes sense. Lately I've been spending a lot of time just looking out the windows and just imagining him, how he would have been out there when he was alive. Just wandering around the yard and rolling in the grass, chasing squirrels, just being happy to be alive. I'm really glad that he got to enjoy this last year here on this big old property that we worked so hard to get for him. So I wish he would have been able to enjoy it longer, but a year was good too. He had a good time here. This is the biggest yard he ever got to enjoy, and boy did he. He loved exploring and all of that, and getting in trouble, digging holes, eating bird food, all the things that he loved. And that was the whole point of any of this, was to make sure that he had a beautiful life. And he very much did. I'm really glad about that. I think I'm just gonna give a little hint of structure. I don't want to go crazy with the background because I don't want to distract too much from him, but I do want to kind of give a slight impression of blackberry bushes, because that was one of his favorite things. He loved foraging for blackberries. I showed him how to pick berries once, and every time from then on, every time he saw blackberries, he would go and just raise the whole supply of blackberries. Didn't matter if we were at home or if it was at a park or whatever. If he saw them, he was going to go and eat all the blackberries. And he knew to pick the ripe ones. He wouldn't eat the red ones, just the purple ones. He loved them so much. So that's one of my favorite memories of him, is him eating all the blackberries. So I'm just going to do a little hint of blackberry bush back here. Nothing too crazy. And amazingly, he never seemed to really mind the thorns. Like, he knew to avoid those right off the bat. And he tried to teach our other dog to do it too, but she never really got the hang of it. And at this point, now that he's gone, I don't think she ever will. Like I said, she's not the most intelligent dog. And she did try, but she just couldn't figure it out. I'm just going to do these real quick in some colored pencil. Just little scribbles. Because like I said, I don't want to go too detail heavy with these. Just give the impression of blackberries. I like doing this scribbly nonsense. It's nice just to just let go and not try to make everything really perfect and formed. Sometimes it's nice just to scribble. Let's add a border. I have a lot of blue left in my palette, so I'm going to use some of that. I feel like a part of me has been dreading finishing this. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I would have to sit down and just really think about things, and didn't really want to do that. I'm still having a lot of trouble accepting that he is gone. I was going through videos of him trying to get them organized for me and my husband just to look back on. And it took me a few days to do that because there were so many. But when I got to the end, it was really emotional because I had to come to terms with the fact that that was it. There would be no more videos of him because he's not here anymore to take those videos. So that was really upsetting. And something about finishing this sketch spread feels like that. Like this is it. He is gone. And it's really hard just to wrap my head around that because I was so used to having him here. You know? He was my best buddy. I've always kind of prided myself on being really good at being alone. And I never really felt lonely. And after this, I kind of came to the realization that a lot of that was because of this dog. Because I was not alone, ever, because this dog was with me. And since I lost him, me and my husband are on separate shifts. He works night shift and I work day shift. So I'm home alone a lot. And it's kind of been a wake-up call that I am not impervious to feeling lonely. So it's kind of knocked me off my high horse in that aspect. Like I am learning that I am capable of being lonely and feeling that, and it does not feel good. I have my other dogs, but he was so, I guess interactive that it doesn't feel the same. So just kind of struggling with that loneliness and just sitting with it. And it sucks. And I miss him very, very much. All right. I feel like I need to add a little bit more blue, especially to the nose, just to make it pop a little more. I feel like it's too light, at least on the camera it is. It's been kind of a struggle, kind of making myself care about things again, since I don't have him, his care and stuff motivating me to really do anything. So that's been difficult. Trying to learn to do things for myself and for other reasons other than him. And it's gonna continue to be difficult for quite a while. I know that. But it's always going to be sad. But eventually it will get to where other aspects of my life have gotten so prevalent that it doesn't feel so fresh and like such a big burden. As they say, you don't outgrow grief. Your life just grows around it. I forget who said that, but I've heard it quite a lot in the therapy space. And it's true. I know that from experience. I just got to get to the point where my life has grown so much that it doesn't seem like this pain takes up as much space. But it's never going to really go down, I guess. It will always be there. Just got to learn to live with it and keep going. Even though sometimes it feels like I'm not making any progress and it's really difficult. But just gotta keep going. That's all I can do. And also a big part of this loss was he went through so much with me, so many life changes, that we had a really special bond because of that. And those, the knowledge that all those events and all the emotional turmoil, I guess, is behind me. And, I'm grateful that I don't have to experience those things again. But at the same time, it forged a really special bond with my dog. And it's kind of scary, and it sucks to know that, any dogs I have in the future, I won't have that to, I guess, bond with them over. And it feels like I might never get a relationship like this again. Like I might never love another dog as much as I loved him, because we just experienced so much life together. And yeah, that kind of sucks. I hope that it's not true and that I do get a really close bond with a dog like that again. But right now, it just doesn't seem likely. I do have hope, though. Maybe one day I'll find another heart dog, because he really was my heart dog. I loved him so much. So very much. He was my best friend. He was a really special. I really enjoyed doing this. In spite of all my crying and stuff. It has been therapeutic doing this, and I appreciate, if you've watched this far, I appreciate you sticking with me. I know it's really sad, and I know it's probably not fun to watch, but I needed to get all this out. And it's been really helpful to do so, and to talk about him and just share him with you guys. I just wanted to share him with somebody because he meant so much to me. And I hope that you guys get to, if you haven't already, I hope you get to experience having a buddy like this you know, it sucks when you lose them, but while they're here, it's it's really special. I think everybody should have a pet that they really bond with. All right, this is looking good. So I think I'm gonna stop here. And again, thank you guys so much for getting through this, if you did. And I hope that if you're going through something like this, that you take all the time you need to heal. It will get easier. It takes a while, but it does get easier. So take care of yourselves, and thank you guys. What you doing, bud? Sweet boy. You being goofy. You're the most loved boy on the planet. Yes, you. You too, Weed. Except you're a girl.